The United States. When talking about modern military power, the conversation almost always starts with United States, not because it was officially ranked number one, but because no other country maintains a truly global military presence like it does. The U.S. emerged as a military superpower after the two world wars, building an industrial and technological base that few nations could match. Today, it spends nearly $900 billion a year on defense, more than the next several countries combined. But the real advantage isn't just money, it's scale and reach. The U.S. operates over 13,000 military aircraft, including more than 2,000 fighter jets, giving it the largest air force on Earth. On land, it fields around 4,600 to 4,700 main battle tanks, supported by vast logistics and transport systems. At sea, the dominance is clearer: 11 nuclear-powered aircraft carriers, each acting as a mobile air base, allowing American forces to project power thousands of kilometers from home. Backed by hundreds of overseas bases, the U.S. military is designed not for one war, but to respond quickly across multiple regions at the same time. In short, American military power is defined less by any single weapon and more by a system built to operate anywhere in the world, at any moment. Russia's military power comes from a very different tradition. It is shaped by history, geography, and the legacy of the Soviet Union. For decades, the USSR stood as the primary rival to the United States, and when it collapsed, Russia inherited much of its military infrastructure, doctrine, and weapons culture. While Russia's defense budget is far smaller than America's, it possesses one of the largest nuclear arsenals in the world, with thousands of nuclear warheads, making nuclear deterrence the backbone of its strategic power. Russian military doctrine prioritizes deterrence, heavy firepower, and endurance. Artillery, missile forces, and armored units play a central role, reflecting a belief in overwhelming force rather than global mobility. Russia fields thousands of tanks and armored vehicles and maintains one of the world's largest artillery forces. Its weapons are designed to be rugged, simple, and cost-effective, which is why Russian arms exports remain widespread across many regions. Rather than seeking global dominance, Russia focuses on regional control and influence, particularly in Eastern Europe, Central Asia, and parts of the Middle East. In essence, Russian military power is not about being everywhere at once, but about being dangerously strong close to home. China did not become a military power overnight. For most of the 20th century, China's strength came from millions of soldiers, limited technology, and a focus on defending its own territory. That has changed. Today, China fields the largest active-duty military force in the world, with over 2 million personnel. But its real transformation lies elsewhere. With more than $200 billion spent on defense each year, China has poured resources into modern ships, long-range missiles, space systems, and cyber warfare. Its navy has quietly grown into the largest in the world by number of vessels, while its missile forces are designed to make nearby waters dangerous for any rival. Unlike the United States, China is not trying to be everywhere. Its strategy is focused, deliberate, and regional. East Asia, the South China Sea, the Taiwan Strait, these are the spaces that matter most. China's military rise is not about global domination. It is about changing the balance of power close to home, and in doing so, reshaping the security landscape of the 21st century. India's military strength is built on scale and geography. With over 1.4 million active-duty personnel, around 4,500 main battle tanks, including large numbers of T-72S, T-90S, and domestically produced models, and more than 2,000 military aircraft, with over 600 fighter jets. India maintains one of the largest standing armies in the world, but numbers alone don't explain its military character. India's modern armed forces were shaped by the constant challenge of defending some of the world's most complex borders, from the Himalayan mountains to vast deserts to long coastlines. Spending around $70 billion a year on defense, India fields a military designed for endurance rather than rapid global deployment. Its forces are trained to operate in extreme terrain, where logistics can matter as much as firepower. While India still relies heavily on imported advanced weapons, it has steadily pushed toward domestic production and modernization, seeking greater independence over time. India also possesses nuclear weapons, providing strategic deterrence and cementing its role as a major military power in South Asia. India's military is not built to dominate the world, but to hold its ground in one of the most contested regions on Earth, North Korea. North Korea represents a very different kind of military power. Economically isolated and technologically limited, North Korea makes up for it with scale and unpredictability. It maintains a massive standing army, supported by a society shaped around constant militarization. But its real power doesn't come from conventional forces. It comes from missiles and nuclear weapons. These systems are not meant to win a war, but to make any war unacceptably costly for its enemies. The goal is deterrence through fear of escalation. Another critical factor is uncertainty. North Korea deliberately keeps its true capabilities unclear. No one knows exactly how far it is willing to go, and that doubt itself becomes a weapon. North Korea does not try to match advanced militaries head-on. Instead, it relies on risk, on the belief that escalation is better than collapse. That is why, despite its weaknesses, North Korea remains one of the most dangerous and unpredictable military actors in the world. South Korea. South Korea lives under a permanent state of military readiness. Technically, the Korean War never ended. It only paused. That reality shapes every aspect of South Korea's defense policy. Mandatory military service ensures that a large portion of the population receives basic training, creating a deep and disciplined reserve force alongside a professional standing army. But manpower alone is not South Korea's strength. Over the decades, South Korea has invested heavily in technology-driven defense. Its armed forces operate advanced air defense systems, modern naval fleets, and increasingly sophisticated missile capabilities. Equally important is integration. South Korea works closely with the United States, sharing intelligence, training, and operational planning. In wartime scenarios, the two militaries operate under a joint command structure designed for rapid response. In recent years, South Korea has also emerged as a major global arms exporter, supplying advanced systems to multiple regions. This confirms that its military strength is not only defensive, it is industrial, scalable, and sustainable. Japan. Japan's military follows a very different path compared to many other major powers. After World War II, Japan adopted a constitution that limited the country to maintaining forces strictly for self-defense. As a result, Japan does not officially call its military an army, but rather the Japan Self-Defense Forces. Despite these restrictions, Japan has built one of the most technologically advanced defense forces in the world. Instead of focusing on large troop numbers, Japan invests heavily in modern equipment, advanced fighter jets, sophisticated naval vessels, missile defense systems, and highly capable submarines. Geography also shapes Japan's military priorities. As an island nation located near several strategic sea lanes, Japan focuses strongly on air defense and naval power, designed to protect its territory and surrounding waters. Another key element of Japan's security comes from its alliance with the United States. American forces are stationed across Japan, and the two countries cooperate closely in regional security. Because of this, Japan's military is often described as quiet but highly capable, not designed for global military campaigns, but for protecting its homeland with advanced technology and strong alliances. The United Kingdom. The United Kingdom maintains one of the most experienced and professional militaries in the world. Unlike countries that rely on large numbers of troops, Britain focuses on a smaller, highly trained force supported by advanced technology and global military infrastructure. A key element of Britain's power is its navy. The Royal Navy operates modern aircraft carriers, submarines, and warships that allow the country to deploy military forces far from its own shores. The country also maintains overseas bases and support facilities across several regions, allowing its forces to deploy quickly far from home. Another major advantage is experience. British forces have taken part in many international missions over the past decades, from NATO operations to peacekeeping and coalition campaigns. The United Kingdom also keeps a continuous nuclear deterrent at sea, with submarines carrying ballistic missiles on constant patrol. Its strength lies in professionalism, mobility, and the ability to project power far beyond its own borders. Israel. Israel's military strength comes from having no room for mistakes. Israel is small, surrounded by rivals, and cannot afford long wars, so its military was built for one purpose: end threats before they grow. Instead of large armies, Israel depends on speed and information. It strikes early, strikes precisely, and relies on intelligence to decide when and where to act. Its air force, drones, and air defense systems allow Israel to see first and react faster than its opponents. Missiles are intercepted, targets are hit quickly, and conflicts are kept short. This approach isn't about dominance. It's about survival. Israel's strength lies in acting fast, hitting accurately, and making sure wars don't last long enough to become dangerous. Iran. Iran follows a very different path to military power. Because of decades of sanctions and limited access to the global arms market, Iran has been forced to rely heavily on its own defense industry. Instead of purchasing large numbers of modern fighter jets or advanced armored vehicles, Iran invested in areas it could realistically develop at home, particularly ballistic missiles, drones, and asymmetric warfare capabilities. Over time, Iran built one of the largest missile arsenals in the Middle East. These missiles, along with a growing fleet of unmanned aerial vehicles, allow Iran to strike targets at long range without relying on expensive air forces. Another key part of Iran's approach is its network of partners and allied groups across the Middle East. Through these relationships, Iran can extend its influence far beyond its own borders without sending large conventional armies. Rather than aiming for quick battlefield victories, Iran's approach is to make conflicts longer, more complicated, and more expensive for its opponents. Iran may lack the advanced air power and large fleets seen in Western militaries, but its approach still allows it to pressure stronger opponents and make any conflict far more difficult and costly. Pakistan. Pakistan maintains one of the largest militaries in the world, with roughly 650,000 active personnel and several 100,000 additional reserve forces. Since its independence, the country has faced repeated tensions and wars with neighboring India. As a result, Pakistan built a military focused heavily on defense and deterrence. A central element of Pakistan's military power is its nuclear arsenal. The country is estimated to possess around 170 nuclear warheads, making it one of the 9 nuclear-armed states globally. Its conventional forces include thousands of armored vehicles, modern fighter aircraft such as the JF-17 Thunder, and a growing fleet of ballistic and cruise missiles capable of reaching targets across the region. Pakistan's military has also been heavily involved in counterinsurgency operations and internal security missions, particularly along its western border. These long campaigns have given its armed forces extensive operational experience. While Pakistan does not attempt to project military power on a global scale, its large standing army, nuclear deterrent, and regional missile capabilities make it one of the most significant military powers in South Asia.